Well, we thought he might be the great hope for the Republican Party for the presidency, but after a few trial balloons were floated, he shot them down and said, no, I'm staying in the Senate. But he's one of the Washington's brightest Republican stars, and he said, no, I'm staying here, not going for the White House. So he can make a greater impact in the Senate. David Brody recently spent an afternoon with South Dakota Senator John Thune to find out the reasons behind that decision.
And one more.
John Thune has what a lot of people want in a presidential candidate.
Thanks a lot.
But his sights aren't on the White House, at least for now. This small-town guy from Murdo, South Dakota, is very comfortable exerting his Christian influence as a United States senator.
I have a Christian worldview, and so it shapes the way that I view issues. And I don't apologize for that, and I don't think that people of faith ought to shrink away from being in the public arena.
Thune doesn't shrink away from a fight. He's the fourth-ranking Republican senator, and as chairman of the Senate Republican Policy Committee, he's responsible for coordinating GOP legislation.
Hey, Barry, how are you?
How are you?
Good to see you, man.
Pleasure to see you.
Welcome back.
CBN News followed Thune recently during meetings on the Hill, like this one, where he's talking about budget negotiations with members of the American-Israel Public Affairs Committee. Thune's day moves fast, moving from budget meetings to hearings about entitlement reform.
Why isn't there any attempt to deal with these long-term problems?
Then, after quickly meeting the press to push the GOP message of the day, he's back at his office meeting with constituents concerned about the health care law. Sometimes Thune's day doesn't end until he makes the rounds at cocktail parties, combining small talk and pushing GOP policy. But ultimately for Thune, the battle isn't about Republicans versus Democrats. He says it's about the country's future. Thune questions President Obama's leadership as he points out the administration's upcoming budget does not tackle the hard issues of entitlement reform.
When you're the President of the United States and you know that the biggest issue facing you is this cliff that we're about ready to head over if we don't get the spending and debt situation under control, it's very irresponsible not to take the action that's necessary to fix the problem.
The Tea Party wants Thune and Republicans to fix the problem, but Thune says it's going to take some time.
As much as we're going to push the envelope as far as we can, we're probably not going to get everything they want accomplished in these next 2 years, particularly with a Democrat president and a Democrat Senate, that there are limitations to what we're going to be able to accomplish, and to keep expectations realistic.
So what can voters expect from Thune? Well, his legislative track record includes a 100% rating last year from the American Conservative Union. He's also taken a lead role in crafting energy and budget legislation. And on the pro-family side, he's voted to prohibit late-term abortions, stop research on embryos, and supported a federal marriage amendment. Thune's philosophy is that while our country is in a fiscal mess, that doesn't mean social issues should be on the back burner.
I think most social conservatives agree that we want a government that's smaller, a government that's more responsive and accountable and all that, but we also need to recognize that there are important issues that impact the basic glue, the foundation that holds our culture together, and that comes down to the family union, and we can't ignore those.
Thune has a lot on his plate, but he's shown a tough, gritty side as well. In 2004, he became a Republican giant slayer when he beat Tom Daschle, the sitting Democrat majority leader. And while Thune won't be taking on another giant in 2012, maybe the former high school and college basketball star, with the good looks and money jump shot, could settle things on the court with the president.
What do you think? Could you take Obama one-on-one? I think you could. I mean, you got the height advantage to a degree.
This is true. This is true. That's right. And I don't know if he has game or not. I'm waiting for my invitation to the White House to play, but I don't expect it's going to come anytime soon. But I think that would be a good way to settle a lot of these big issues. We'll just play one-on-one, and you know, winner gets to choose how we do entitlement reform and tax reform. And
ooh, there's a lot riding on that game.
Yeah, that would be an interesting way to fix it.
For now, Thune's holding court in the United States Senate, and he's got game. David Brody, CBN News, Washington.